So, hi, Julianne. This series was written and adapted by the great Stephen King. Can you talk to me about what it was like working with him?
Oh, it was a thrill. It was really absolutely a joy. I mean, there's nobody more of a partner than Stephen. I mean, he was so incredibly collaborative with all of us and so generous with his time and his information and his presence. He wrote all the screenplays and he was there on the set as often as he could be and just easy and great. And I mean, if he wasn't there, he would text you to say what he'd seen in dailies and what he loved. He'd be like, "Great scene yesterday. I just love what you did." And it was really incredible. And then I think we all relied on him. We relied on him as a partner and a creative collaborator.
That's wonderful. And in true Stephen King fashion, there's definitely a supernatural element to the show. When you were reading the script, did you question what was real and what was Lisey's imagination?
Well, that's kind of the thesis, of the story, right? She doesn't know. She doesn't, and Stephen, I think, is really, it's remarkable how he manages to base things in real life and actual behavior and actual relationships and family dynamics. And, so he sets all of that up. And then after these kind of actions happen, what's wonderful is you don't know, is this psychological horror? Is this something that's in her mind or is something actually happening? And she doesn't know. So the audience goes on a journey with Lisey as she sort of investigates this. Um, but I love that. I love that the series gets deeper and deeper with each episode, that it transforms so dramatically too. You feel like you're in one story at the beginning and you're almost in a completely different one by the end.
And there is a very dark side to the entire plot. How did you prepare as an actor for those really intense scenes, especially with Amanda and everything that she goes through?
Oh, well, Joan Allen is just a spectacular actor. You don't have to do much with Joan, but just be there with her because she's just does such beautiful work. Um, I think one of the things I actually loved is there's a very sympathetic portrayal of mental illness, of what it means to lose your grip on reality and how hard it is, and how people, and I think what you see too with Lisey and with Jennifer Jason Leigh, who plays Darla, you see their concern and their love for their sister and their desire to keep her grounded and to make her better. So I, even with the darkness, and I mean, I think even with, like I said, that's where Stephen King excels, where he really bases things in real life and real behavior, and then the monsters that he creates. So these world that he creates are our feelings and our anxieties, made manifest. I think he's a great humanist in the fact that he does have so much concern for his characters and what they feel, and most people in Stephen King movies manage to defeat the monster.
Yeah, and that is definitely seen on screen. Well, congratulations with this incredible series, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk with you. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm Nastasia Nickolaou, and I'm with the Nocturnal. Hi, Jane. So this series is very intense, and I would say you play one of the most intense characters in the series. What drew you into this twisted character, and what was the most challenging part?
Yeah, well, it was an opportunity to work with a lot of really incredible people. And, when I sat down with the director, Pablo Larraín, and he started talking about his vision of the character and what he wanted to do with the character, it was incredibly intriguing. And to know that I would get to do that, with the actors that are in the series, and in collaboration with Stephen King. It was just an incredible opportunity that came my way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, having Stephen King on board had to be incredible. What was it like working with him?
Well, he's much like Julianne Moore. Um, he's surprisingly approachable and kind, and is easy to work with because he allows you to trust him, and um, and feel comfortable around him. You know, and in a lot of ways, in creating Dooley, my character, which is kind of different than it is in the novel or even in the script when I first read it. It came from conversations that I had with the director and exploring this character, and then Stephen watching what we would do, listen to what Pablo had to say, and then writing new material and new scenes for the character as we were going along. And then as I would receive those pages, you know, allowing his writing and his work to speak for itself, which was obviously invaluable.
Definitely. And without giving too much away, it does get pretty gory and it gets pretty intense to watch, especially from the viewer's point of view. How did you prepare for that scene with Julianne Moore?
Yeah, well, I would say actually that um, I don't know. For me, gore means like graphic violence, and I actually think in watching that scene, there may not be any gore in
That's
what
true.
actually happens. You know, so I
Yeah.
think that's important to point out. But that's a big scene. You know, it's like a 20-minute, really intense scene in which really intense, sometimes violent things do happen. Um, and the preparation, I mean, it was something we did kind of towards the end of what we were doing. And there was obviously a lot of conversation that went on. And then the preparation, a lot like a lot of stuff on the show, came from sitting down with everybody, talking about it, figuring out how we could make it as good and weird and crazy and off-putting and horrific as possible, and then kind of like trusting in that process and knowing, like, you know, there's so much in that scene, for instance, that was not in the screenplay, but it all came from these conversations that were being had between the director and myself, talking with Julianne about her thoughts on the scene, and then, you know, Stephen King trusting us to kind of take it in a weird direction, and just like hoping it works, you know. And I watched it the other day, and it is really something.
It really is. And I've seen 4 episodes, so I can't wait to see the rest of the series. I was left on a cliffhanger, but I just want to say congratulations on this series. It's just incredible. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Hi, Ron. So your character ends up getting caught up in this web that's sort of tangled and ultimately ends up as the catalyst for kind of destruction that happens down the line. What do you think your character's true intentions were?
I think his true intentions were to be more powerful and more prestigious. I think, like many of us in that position, we keep climbing, and his idea of climbing is to think that if he can grab onto this specific thing, it will increase his status and increase his power. And so I think that's where he starts. And then everything starts to arc into place after that.
Yeah, I mean, this professor, if he were to know what kind of his wants caused down the line, do you think he would still be after what it is that he wants, or do you think maybe not?
I don't know. That's kind of looking back after the cat's out of the bag, right? I think truly the way I tried to play him is that the identifiable part about him is climbing that status, you know, especially now we all have this idea of what success is, right? And how we're going to get there and what we need to attain the type of success that we think is going to make us more powerful, more money, more prestigious. And then how we go about doing that can be wonderful and beautiful. And at times it could be presents us with choices that could be dangerous or detrimental to other people or to ourselves. And so I think that's the ambiguity of him that I loved playing, is that we all have those little challenges on our daily basis when we think about how we're climbing the ladder. of status and success and what that is. So I don't know. Maybe looking back, he'd say, that expression, if I had to do it again, I'd do it all over again the same way. Or if I had to do it again, I would change this. Maybe he wouldn't open that door and let that particular thing in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, this series is just so dark and twisted in true Stephen King fashion, the legend himself. But what was it like working with him and the rest of the cast?
Well, as I said, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to physically work with him because of the way my scenes were structured. But it was like he was there. You knew that the words that you were reading and working with were directly from the book, but they also were directly from him. Maybe yesterday, 2 days ago, he was there making changes or making any kind of adjustments during the course of it. So that personalized it a lot for me as well. And so that made all the difference because you knew that you were striving for the specificity each time of what he was actually writing. So that was the challenge, but it's also what you want as an actor and a craftsman. That's the kind of challenge you want, to be even closer to the writer's words and the specificity of each character.
Definitely. Well, I'm so excited to see everyone's reaction to this psychological thriller. It was wonderful to watch. Congratulations, and thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Thank you for having me, Nastasia.
Thank you. Hi, Joan. So,
Hi there.
hi, this series was written and adapted by the legendary Stephen King. What was it like working with him and the rest of the fabulous cast?
Oh, it was a wonderful experience. He wasn't on the set all the time, but the days when he was, it was really great having him there, and he wrote all of the episodes.
And the creative team that was brought together to work on this were fantastic, and our wonderful, beloved director Pablo Larraín, who we all adored, and it was a very, really wonderful experience.
And your character, it was just mind blowing to watch and see Amanda just openly struggling and heavily dealing with some mental health issues. So, why was it important for you to play a character who is so open about her mental health struggles and we visibly see what that can look like?
Yeah, I felt um, it was an intense experience, but I also felt like
My mission was to try to be as accurate, as I could be in portraying the different mental states that the character finds herself in. And so I had a lot of empathy for her, I think, and as a person who's in her regular, day to day life, um, has an extra fragility that for whatever genetic reasons or whatever, makes day to day living harder for her. And then when the bumps and the bruises of life come along, she just doesn't bounce back from them as well as maybe another person or even her sisters would do.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting to watch, some of the ways that she reacts to things and to see you play, the supernatural element, but also that is her reality, but then being so far removed from reality. How is it preparing for that? I mean, there's a lot happening with her character, so how did you prepare for that?
I sometimes just, you know, would do, I would make little narratives in my head about maybe what she's thinking and how her thoughts might be darting all over the place.
And I also I keep going back to wonderful Pablo, who would talk me through certain sequences to give me a narrative that I could follow. So the camera would be on me, and then he would say off camera, he would help guide me to, well, now this is happening to her. Now this is coming towards her, and now she's scared, and now and so his
overall vision, and his sharing that with me and like almost like holding my hand through it and giving me something to react to was unbelievably helpful.
I could imagine so. And without giving too much away, there is some scenes that deal with self-harm. So how did you prepare for that intensity?
I just um, I had a long, day at the prosthetics when they made my prosthetics to go along with it.
And you just kind of throw yourself into it. I don't know. I just do that as an actor, and this is what's required, and this is what's going to go on in this scene. And I have amazing actors around me and a superb director who's going to help me get through and talk me through what the sequence is going to be. And I have utter faith that he knows what he's doing. So, you just kind of like,
That's
Completely.
my job. That's what
Yeah.
that's what the script, that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, we had such a thrilling experience watching you play this character.
Oh,
Congratulations on the roller coaster that this series was. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Best of luck with everything. Thank you.
thank you.